My stomach is going like crazy. If you can hear a noise going, ew, it's my stomach. There it is. Hello there, I'm Greg, and I'm making sci-fi picture frames inspired by Red Dwarf. Red Dwarf is a British sci-fi sitcom created by Rob Grant and Doug Naylor. It started in 1988 on BBC Two and has since moved to Dave. Doug Naylor is currently hinting there will be more, so it's ongoing for many, many years. When I was a kid, I was obsessed with Red Dwarf. I remember once thinking about how Starbug would never come and land in the school playground and then take me away, and thinking about that for long enough that I actually cried. I used to dress as Lister when I was 11. I made my first bazookoid when I was 11. I had a drawing of Starbug on my locker at school that some lad ripped off and had to apologise to me. It was a whole thing. I've got every copy of Red Dwarf's magazine. It's a huge pillar of my childhood imagination. That's also true for my school friend, Simon. So flash forward more years than I care to... Flash forward about 30 years. I'm at his wedding. I'm one of the groomsmen. Everyone from school is there. Turned out to be lovely. He was a bit nervous. And in his wedding speech, he quoted Red Dwarf with this.
I just want to say that over the years, I have come to regard you as people I met.
So that got me thinking again all about Red Dwarf. I needed to come up with a decent wedding present. I thought of doing a print, so I initially designed this print of the quote he'd use, and then I thought, well, if you're going to do a Red Dwarf print, you want to put it in a Red Dwarf frame. So I made him a frame, sent it off, he was very touched, it went down very well, and then shared it online. It got a lot of love, and a few people asked, can I buy one of these? So I did a very limited run of, supposed to be 10, promised one to too many people, so it became 11. So last summer, which is when I shot all this footage you're about to see, I made 11 Red Dwarf picture frames, which all began with some picture frames, obviously. So 10 picture frames at this stage, because I hadn't yet over-promised. Covered the table in brown paper and then did a grid of masking tape to keep things organised. Organisation is the key when you're dealing with this many greeblies, a term coined by George Lucas to describe all the kind of detailing on outsides of spaceships. So, we are gathering bits. This is a lengthy bit gathering, and I may not have left myself enough time. Okay, they're the backs of light switches, the plastic housing off a light switch, more light switch parts. These are old computer keyboard parts and lots of tiny washers that I just save in a jar. That was a bit of miniature bulldog clip. Those are milk bottle rings I got from scrap. Those are plant label tabs from Wilco. Those are the grommets that go on the back of a teddy bear's eye. Those are Perspex dots. These are just various sizes of washer. These are offcuts of laser cut MDF. Really good, love those tabbed edges. Again from scrap in Farsley, love that place. So we use these a lot because they're just ready cut out detail that looks a bit sci-fi. This is packaging tape that you get around large parcels, which has a nice fine grid texture to it, so I kept that. This is food packaging, frozen food. Shout out to Heron Foods. That's tofu, and this looks like sushi, but actually is a 6-pack of novelty socks I bought for my wife that looked like a 6-pack of sushi. Her sushi socks. They're cute. This is a red DVD box. It's the clip inside a DVD case. I think I used that. And then if you've got lots of picture frames, you have lots of picture frame inserts, which we never use, but they're nicely beveled edge cardboard. So it's not a square edge. They've got that nice 45-degree. And especially with the multiple frames that contain multiples, you get these very interesting angles that I use later. They are round rhinestones. These are nice thick stickers. With stickers you can use not only the sticker but the frame, the sprues, the framework between the stickers, which I used later as panelling. Never ever throw anything away, ever. This is plastic right angle that you get from B&Q, the hardware store. And then this is also some trim that we panelled around our bath to make it waterproof. And it's just the edging that holds the panels on, so I kept all those offcuts. And it's raining cable ties. Hallelujah. Okay, another pile of greeblies, here we go. This is more sushi packaging with nice corners. This is greetings card packaging that has very fine lines. This is more frozen food packet stuff. Am I still recording? Yes. Okay, this is cardboard and DVD case. These are little perm clips. I think they hold like hair rollers in, but it's just a nice plastic strip with lots of little holes in. Those are wooden lolly sticks. This is a piece of UPVC, a sample of like expanded pop plastic that I got online, didn't use. That's a ColecoVision computer game cartridge, didn't use that either. Love these train wheels, they make very nice little fans. Only had 6 of them, wish I had a huge bag of them. Felt tip pens. The lids are nicely detailed and they make good pipes, so always save your old felt tip pens. Those are soy milk lids, soy drink, sorry. This is vintage Meccano, I got a job lot of on eBay. That is a lateral flow test, lovely source of greebly detail. I think this was plant food, but any pump bottle will have an interesting nozzle hidden inside. That's the socket from an old printer. Come on, it's a bit slow. Right, these are stickers from mini DV tapes. I saved all the stickers from my mini DV tapes and mini discs in the late 90s. And it's paying off big time now. That's half a clothes peg. And this is entertainment. That's a Meccano hook thing. These are the old screw covers I kept off when I took down a shower cubicle out of our bathroom. More lids. More lids, Vicar. That's a piece of plastic. I'm holding it up. I can't describe it to you, what it is. And yeah, more card, black styrene plastic, which cuts really nicely. Yeah, DVD cases, just paneling. And then nearly finally, I think, these are cable clips. So it's the little plastic hook that you hold a wire onto a wall or a skirting board, which has a nail built into it. And they're good for holding pipes onto things. Danger, 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 danger. Okay. So, some greeblies you have to harvest. These are cassette tapes, nothing, not mixtapes from a lost love, but blank, I think. They're probably worth a fortune, I don't know. But you get 2 big wheels, 2 small wheels, a lovely little metal plate, and a little sort of brass T-shaped thing inside a cassette. So I think, kind of in my happy place here with my little miniature screwdrivers out, and I'm harvesting bits. These clippy coat hangers, they were in the free bin, again at scrap. And the clips just had some nice shapes that I thought would curve over the frames well and kind of look like some sort of docking clamps or like things that would hold a big door open or whatever. This is the front of our old router. I noticed it had these grilled vents on the inside and outside. And when you're making 10 of something, you need to harvest for maximum yield. So got my Dremel out at great effort and split them so I had the vents from both sides. But they're useful. Vents are sci-fi. All right, mate, we've seen it now. Come on. Okay, these are ring binder covers, which I got because they're just nice thick cardboard, but actually I realised I liked these strips of square holes. We cut once, we cut twice, and they're just a nice strip of detail. We cut thrice and we're through. Lovely stuff. And we're finally making. The greeblies are gathered. Bringing in the sheaves. Yeah, so this is a nice grid system that just organisation is the key. So I'm assigning greeblies. Greebly assignation. Always leave your lens cap in shot if you can. So there's all the greeblies. Edgar Wright camera move. And there, I think I honestly spent 3 days because I remember Instagramming still greebly sorting. No, 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 no. I love that boy. It's a scary thing to love this much. Let's talk corners. It's sci-fi, so things have 45-degree corners, but they're quite hard to make. The original, it was the corners off a big tray of sushi from Asda, but that's like 14 quid, so I can't buy 10 of them. So I've made some there out of foam board, didn't like them, made some out of cardboard, didn't really like them, and then I thought, lolly sticks. So I need 44 of everything. Shall I do some live maths? There are 3 pieces for every corner. 44 times 3 is 120, let's do that, 132. 132 bits of lolly stick that I need to cut out. I did figure out with this template that the 3 bits all fit onto one lolly stick, which is good. And then just taped them together in bundles of 4, then taped that whole thing together and cut them all out with my Dremel rotary tool. To save time, I guess. It's a bit crazy. I don't think I would do this now. You could even make one out of lolly sticks or cardboard or clay or something, then push some blue stuff or some putty onto it, do a resin cast and just make a load of corners. Obviously a laser cutter or a 3D. I think a laser cutter might be one of my dream tools. Not so much a 3D printer, but just a thing that cuts out for you while you're not looking. Cuts things just out of MDF sheet. Would be great. So yes, this is my quickest way I could think of at the time of harvesting corners. So there, that's quite neat, quite proud of that really. And then just lots of dremeling. So once you've cut them all out, you've got these masking tape together little bundles of 4, And then again, you want to keep those organised into, this is the slightly shorter horizontal, this is the vertical, and then this is the diagonal corner. Thumbs up, he says. Thumbs up. This was shot a year ago, so I wasn't quite on brand yet. There's no video diary in this one, because I hadn't yet started doing what I'm doing now. When I made my bazookoid, I shared it on the RPF, the Replica Prop Forum, and a few people said, is there a build video for this? So I realised there's sort of an expectation of doing a build video, and they're the people who kind of pushed me to start documenting stuff. And here we are. So yeah, I'm just sanding all my lolly stick parts, but laser cutting, making a mold, 3D printing, all those things would be quicker. It's an oddly complex shape actually, because the diagonal isn't quite as thick as those. So it was my wife who came up with the idea of, well, just put them on diagonally and then just cut off the sticking out corners, so the join doesn't meet at the corner. Very, very simple when you have a wife to suggest it to you. Then I detailed them with this frozen food packaging grid, just a strip of those, 4 on the horizontal and 6 on the vertical. Then cut off the cardboard corner and stuck a strip of that parcel holding tape on the inside of the frames. Love that stuff. And it's free too. These are those picture frame inserts with the nice beveled edge. So just cutting those out into interesting shapes, really good for panelling. So anywhere it's like a frame that has 6 pictures in it, you can cut across them and you get these lovely odd angles. So those are I did my best. So those are the sides now detailed. Nearly. Lots of little stickers, cable ties, food packaging, Dymo label maker, you know, the clicky, the thing that's in my logo where it says making. It's that label punching machine. I love that thing. But yeah, it's like blocking in a painting. You do your big shapes and then you gradually get smaller and smaller. And I realized I wanted something even smaller. So you could go around and stick on hundreds of little rhinestones for nail art. You get tiny, you know, studs, and you could super glue those. Or you can use your Gondry bar and just put holes in where rivets would be. So I'm doing I think this is the final bit before painting, a rivet pass. There we are. So that's again a final layer of big details to small details. So I've now done all the sides. So I just need to do the front, top, bottom, and inner sides. These are some very, very thin plastic craft straws that I've had for years, just filling them with a bamboo skewer, like a barbecue skewer, so that they're not squishy. So I'm going to use those as pipes, which I'm attaching to the outside of the frame with those wire clip, cable clip things. These are the backs of those light switches. I needed some white chunky switches for another project, and so I've got these bits left over. So I'm just filling them with a piece of foam board and then a very satisfyingly correctly sized grid of, I think these were some bake at home cookies, just a plastic tray of frozen cookies, and that just fits perfectly in there. So that's a made greebly that looks like a sort of vent, a spaceship aircon machine, something like that. So this is sushi sock packaging, which I sell on the seashore. Just has a nice vent in the side, a nice sort of trapezium shaped vent. Food packaging is its own massive box. So I'm going to do a food packaging specific project. Oh, this is tiring. There's no video diary for me to take a breather. So we're just going to, and I've sped up the footage, which maybe I won't do again. At this stage, my wife and I went to the local charity shop and I just got this big bag of Lego. Cut the studs off, dab of super glue, wipe it thin, food packaging grid to detail the top, and where the super glue's kind of bled out, I've just sprinkled it with baking soda. When you're making like janky, rusty old industrial sci-fi, like a Star Wars, a Red Dwarf, an Alien, that kind of aesthetic that I love, it gives you some texture. And at the same time as getting the Lego, we got this lovely linen bag of wooden rectangles, which are so blank that they're incredibly useful. They're basically numberless dominoes. So for each of these vents that has 2 fans on every frame, I've just used 2 very, very tiny nails to attach one of those wooden domino things to the frame. There he is. And yeah, oh God, I love those train wheels. They're such good fans of mine, but didn't have enough of those to do the whole thing. So these are 2 of the, I believe, teddy bear eye grommets that hold their eyes on the back, stuck onto a coffee bag vent. Then for all of them, asymmetry. Keep things asymmetrical, so I moved the vent to one side of the little domino piece, a couple of rhinestones at the top but not 3 all the way down, then a little vent made from a tiny piece of cable tie on the top, and you've got a sort of sci-fi unit that looks like it has function. You're just detailing and making it up as you go along, and it's lots of fun. So yeah, I love these vent things. I have nothing else to say. I love them. These are the sort of holy grail gold dust Lego piece that I recall from when I was a kid. The bit with a 45-degree angle. So again, cut the studs off, little piece of food packaging, tiny washer, and then because I was making it up as I go along, I had to cut the drinking straw bamboo skewer pipe at a 45-degree angle to make room for this corner piece. But it's quite nice because it looks like it goes into the unit. These are from very cheap water pistols, which are nice sort of, they look like tanks. So to get the back flat and to have a good mating surface, which is 2 things gluing together, I filled them with 2 strips, I think, of foam core, and then good old super glue and baking soda. Get the lid on. Don't look in the viewfinder, look at the, there we go. Bless him, he was new. And here's a trick I learned from Bill making stuff. Sprinkle your baking soda over a large Tupperware box of baking soda. It's much tidier that way. So every frame gets a tank of some kind. It contains space fluid. Corners! This is the bottom right corner. So I stuck a triangle of cardboard on. They all had some kind of round vent. So mostly it was one of these teddy bear eye grommets. These could easily not be that, but I've decided that's what they are. So super glued them on. Again, baking soda, did a pilot hole in the middle of each one, and then I've got these round-topped brass, I think probably brass effect, what I paid for them, furniture nails or furniture tacks. Just tapped that into the middle of the grommet. I mentioned over-engineering last time. More super glue, and then a final and very unnecessary hammer. All right, mate. It's in. Jeez. So this, the doweling and sort of edging section from B&Q, that's a British hardware store, just my favourite place. Strips of beading, plastic detailing. This is just white plastic right angle. It comes in 240 centimetre strips that reach the ceiling, and I'm just cutting it into 44 corners to tidy up my corners. More rhinestones. Wondered if you could buy square rhinestones instead of round ones. You can. So put one of those diagonally on another cardboard corner and then just 3 rivet holes. And just repeat. Rinse and repeat. But actually, once you're making one picture frame, you know, it doesn't take that much longer to make 11. That's not true. It takes way longer. It takes 11 times longer. Yeah. And then these are the tops. So we have a wheel from a cassette tape, one of those little clear Perspex buttons that I bought a bag of, don't know what they are, a strip of ring binder, and then just loads of food bag clips of all shapes and sizes. But for some reason, they seem to be the go-to greebly for the top. Round corners, lines, looks like space. And these are the bottoms. Don't put too much work into the bottoms because it's the bottom. But these are every last piece I had of the framework that held on our shower paneling. It just had this nice strip of, there's some fine lines and a nice sort of strip of holes. So I used that. The white rounded things and pointy things are plant labels. They're very nice matte plastic, so you can write the name of flowers on and stick them in the soil. And then just some cable ties. And I think that's it. Yeah, that's it. Painting! At last we paint. So, thinking I was being quite smart, I'm using red oxide primer. But I wouldn't do this again, because when it comes to weathering, you want all your little fine details and all those tiny holes and corners, and if they're black, it's better. So I think even though this is primer, I think now I would prime these black first, and then hit them with a little bit of red oxide, which is the colour of Red Dwarf, it's that browny red. But yeah, I think I'd do them black first, for reasons that will become clearer in the weathering section. Even though I'm outside, I'm wearing a respirator, because this gets pretty headachy pretty fast. Made all of next door's house stink of paint, because I had their kitchen window open. Sorry, I now spray slightly further away from the house. Caught red-handed. These were really useful, so just cut up a wire coat hanger and bent them into very sharp S's, and then I put an eyelet which is like a little magnifying glass shaped hook thing, you know, screwed that into the back of each frame so I could just hang them up easily to dry. This is my spraying system. You see on the right there, I initially had them propped up on 4 tins of beans covered in sandwich bags, but you don't want to spray on plastic or plastic bag because it gets really clogged up with paint and it's all sticky and liquid, and spraying on cardboard is better because it's absorbent. So we're now doing a pass with very gloss red. This I had left over from when I made a festive guitar for my wife to play in Christmas Power, a Christmas music video I made a few years ago. And actually having gloss paint was really good because when it comes to weathering, it's very tough. It's sort of pre-varnished, isn't it, gloss. So when you put your water-based acrylics on, they wipe off really easily. So it happened to just be pure luck that this glossy red was a really nice base for weathering over the top of. And here what I'm doing is just spraying key areas while trying to leave some corners and crannies. Word of the week, cranny, definitely. Leave the crannies dark and make the highlights shine. So it draws your attention to nice detailed areas, but makes some fake shadows. Because I don't make many miniature things, but with a miniature you're trying to paint a lighting job into it. So you're painting on shadows that would be there if it was a 5-mile long spaceship. So for something to look slightly big, you need to fake lighting. That's why you need to paint shadows into something that's a miniature, and you don't need to paint them into a prop. Thumbs up again. There he is. There's a technique I've learnt from watching various Warhammer miniature painting people, even though I don't play Warhammer, but I do watch a lot of Warhammer-based content, called zenithal highlighting. A zenithal highlight, where you paint a miniature black or black and grey, and then prime it white just from one direction, which leaves shadows underneath. So these look good, they look fine, you could stop here, but then you wouldn't get to do any weathering. Hooray! Oh Lord, it's weathering time. Let's make these look like they're 3 million years old and have been, you know, blasted with asteroids, blasteroided. So this is my wash. You could just do a straight black wash, but I'm doing some black, some brown and some purple because I thought the shadows could have a bit of purple to them. Shadows can be any colour. They can be blue or purple or green or other colours. I'm not going to list all of them. This is a little technique that I think I've invented, where you angle your Tupperware palette. So you've got all the water at the bottom for a proper wash, which is really mostly water with just some paint in it. But then you've got a sort of wet palette at the top for mixing your colours. So slap it on all over. This is where it would probably have benefited me to have primed it black first, because all those tiny, like the square ring binder holes along the top, those pink perm clips that have tiny little holes in, actually making sure there is black or darkness, making sure they're full of darkness is quite fiddly. You really got to stab it in there. This is why miniature painters sometimes do a thing called a dip wash, where you literally dip your painted miniature into a pot of wash so it floods into every nook and cranny. And here I'm just dabbing them off with a bit of old bathroom sponge, and you sort of learn your surface. You learn how much dabbing you need to do. Because this was gloss red, this actually came off a lot. So you dab it off, you think that's a bit too much, you paint some back on. So yeah, mixing up a very dark purpley, browny black, because I wanted a bit of colour, dimensionality to the proceedings. As you see there, the square holes along the top. Because you want it to look big, it should be shadowed in all those recesses, you see. So a black prime helps you get all those crannies dark, but very satisfying. Always just a lovely thing to do. Speaking of satisfying, watch this. A cotton bud or Q-tip, just wiping off the sort of highlights and panels and plates and bits that you want to draw the eye, hitting all the edges and corners, and it just makes it glow and shine a little bit. And a silver pen pass. Again, as I figured, this ship has been barraged with asteroids. Is it asteroids or meteors? No, meteors are within a planet's atmosphere. Asteroids are in space. Asteroids. I overdid it with the silver pen. So even after my wife and I had ordered a lovely takeaway to celebrate the fact that these frames were finished, I looked at them and no, I went overboard with the silver. And it looked sort of a bit cartoony, like I'd hit too many edges. so it had a sort of hand-drawn quality to it. So I actually, the final pass, the final frontier, was hitting it with a red Sharpie. So I went back over and muted down a lot of these silver highlights with a red Sharpie, which you can just see here, like round the square holes there, you can see where it's kind of almost a pinky orange highlight. That silver coloured back over with red pen, which I quite like, because anytime you can get a different shade of red into these, because you've got one colour to work with. So shade and tone are your friends. The smiling face of a lateral flow test. Then busted out my Dymo label maker, numbered them all, realised they were now 12, because I made one for Simon and then 11 more for my lovely beloved customers, and bang, and the job is done. Good work. Well done. Well done you. Just make sure the guitar's on brand and we're off. And that's that. Very happy with how they turned out. They travelled as far as Australia, so the project had enormous global outreach and, you know, I think made people happy. Obviously, thank you to everyone who bought one. That version of the Red Dwarf theme, I must thank my brother, Ashley Johnson. Follow him on Instagram. He does amazing things with wood. He's just a better guitarist than me, always has been. That's our band. That's the artwork for our first album we ever did together. And then our full-on band was Last Sangras. We were good. Man. Also thanks to Darrell Maclaine, the one and only Darrell Maclaine, who we were just messaging on Twitter about something else, and I said, would you like to play the Red Dwarf theme for me? Because I can't play piano with both hands at the same time. Which any pianist would tell you just means I can't play the piano. But I can work things out and record them and then forget them immediately. So huge thanks to them for lending their talent to that version of Howard Goodall's lovely theme. What else? Please like, share and subscribe, blah blah blah. Here's a story. That Ace Rimmer Smoke Me a Kipper I'll Be Back for Breakfast t-shirt was won by me in 1993 on I think March the 20th, check this ticket, watching Red Dwarf be filmed. Polymorph 2 Emo Hawk from Series 6. I was 13, 3 years too young to be there. Possibly quite a formative night for me, that one. The process. Love of the process. Like seeing under the bonnet or the hood and seeing how it's made. And that not decreasing the magic, but increasing the magic of this process in that studio. We later shot Late Night MASH in the same studio as Series 12 and 11 of Red Dwarf at Pinewood. So that was also exciting for me. But yes, between takes, possibly as a large explosion had hit Danny John Jules in the face and it all went very quiet, they had a competition, and I happened to know the name of Robert Llewellyn's character from the parallel universe in Dimension Jump. So I won that Ace Rimmer t-shirt at Red Dwarf. I haven't worn it in about 20 years. Bit musty. Today's YouTube channel recommendation, he's not doing much at the moment, but it's scratch bashing. That's scratch bashing. If you like seeing junk, toys, and just trash plastic, trash stick. No, there's nothing there. That's nothing. Then watch him. I love that alchemical process. It's why I'm not so into 3D printing, is I love, it's just this, and this. You stick them together and then paint them, and wow. And I hope that my Red Dwarf frames had some of that. I think that's everything. If I remember anything, I'll just find you. Thanks for watching, lots of love, and I'll see you soon. You want to see me make a bazookoid? Want to see me make 2 bazookoids? Comment below.